Was a year ago tonight. Wilmer Flores with the walk-off home run against the Washington Nationals that started the propelling of the Mets toward what would be a National League title. We'll see if the Mets can get things turned around in a similar fashion today. Remember that home run last year on this date came after maybe the most devastating loss that the Mets had suffered all year, that 6-run meltdown in the rain against the San Diego Padres. Today's Cold Hard Facts brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light. Mets were holding their own before the All-Star break. Although they weren't scoring a lot, they were scoring at least enough to keep their heads above water. Since the All-Star break, just 6-9, and the numbers have gone down offensively.
And those are cold hard facts, Gary.
And the other fact is that the Mets were 15-7 in April, and they're 5 games under 500 since the end of April. So they've lived off that great beginning to this season, but now they find themselves just 3 games over 500 with August looming tomorrow. Noah Syndergaard getting ready to walk in and make his 20th start of the year today.
Nope. They're sporting their 86 homies.
Sky's still a little gloomy, but the rain has stopped. Grounds crew did a great job getting the tarp off the field and getting the field in shape to play. There's the starting lineup for the Rockies. No Trevor Story. He jammed his thumb sliding into second base yesterday. They think it'll just be a day or two for him. And also a day off for Nolan Arenado, who just does not look like himself in this series. So Walt Weiss is giving him a day off. So 2 big bats out of the Colorado lineup today. But David Dahl has made a big impact in his first week in the major leagues. Walt Weiss's team has been storming out of the All-Star break. 12-4 since the break. They've won 5 in a row, 9 of their last 10 to get back to 500 for the first time since May. And the Rockies find themselves just 4 games out of the National League wildcard race now. There's the West standings. The Dodgers lost last night and the Giants won. So the Giants 2 games ahead of the Dodgers. Rockies 8 out, but as we mentioned, only 4 out in the wild card now. Just a game and a half behind the Mets. Miami and St. Louis tied for that second spot behind L.A. in the wild card standings, and the Marlins and the Cardinals are closing out their series in Miami this afternoon. That's Andrew Cashner's first start since joining the Marlins from San Diego.
It always seems the wild card. You look at Noah Syndergaard, today's starter. It always seems the teams that are in the bottom half of the wild card hunt are always hovering, Gary, around 500. And I think when the season comes to an end, it's the team that gets hot. And I think the teams that are near 500 aren't going to get in the playoffs. And we'll take a look at your Lexus defense. Conforto in left field, and the line with the right-hander Brandon Nimmo in right field. Diaza gets the start. Cespedes hurt. That's a brand new outfield out there. And it's the same guys. It's the steady 4 on the infield. Loney back in the lineup, right-hander pitching. He's been the Mets' best hitter of late. And Rene Rivera, who last start had a nice home run.
Rivera and Syndergaard has become a fixture over the last several weeks. Rivera doing a little better job defensively, helping to control the running game for Syndergaard. And he's also contributed offensively. He's had a very good month of July. As has Alejandro De Aza. It's kind of lost in the shuffle of all this Mets struggle. That's about a couple of players who have boosted themselves over this month of July. Well, as is a Sunday afternoon tradition here, kids getting a chance to meet their heroes as they take the field.
It makes me jealous that I would have loved to have had this opportunity to be one of the lucky ones. Can you imagine if I was at first base, Gare, young kid like that, and Willie McCovey comes and starts talking to me? I'd have been speechless.
How about if the kid was on the field when you were playing first base? He might have been traumatized to an extent where he never would have recovered. A big start for Noah Syndergaard this afternoon. This is a team that is really struggling right now, and they need somebody to go out and be a hero today, and why not Noah, who has had himself a tremendous first full season in the major leagues. 4th in the National League in ERA at 2.45.
144 strikeouts in 117 in the 3rd innings. That's outstanding. Only 23 walks. We know that Noah is a polished pitcher. And the umpire getting a look. I mean, as us hitters, it's old Jack Murphy Field, folks. There used to be behind home plate a small little window. It was rectangular in shape, maybe 2 inches in height and around 6 inches in width. And there used to be a little bit, one-step platform there. And I would sneak behind there because and watch the pitcher warm up. Pretty much a view like that, and boy, did I love that. Get a look at the breaking stuff.
It's like you remember the knothole gang.
And that's the Land Rover numbers for Noah, and they are outstanding. The hits are up a little bit to the innings pitched. Outstanding.
Well, his biggest problem lately has been getting deep into games because he's had a lot of high pitch counts, especially a trouble with putting hitters away, so a lot of foul balls against Syndergaard. So 5 of his last 6 starts, he has not gone beyond 6 innings. That was the case his last time out against the Cardinals. Pitched 6 fairly effective innings, but threw 114 pitches in those 6 innings and had to come out at that point.
Well, this is by all means, by no stretch of the imagination, a very important game for the Mets to salvage 1 game out of this 4-game series. You never want to get swept at home in any series, but a 4-game series is particularly painful.
Charlie Blackmon leads off for the Rockies. Blackmon 6 for 13 in this series, had 4 hits Friday night, 2 doubles yesterday. Syndergaard's first pitch is a fastball away, and we're underway. 38 minutes rain delay to begin the afternoon. There is the possibility of more showers later, but nothing right now. Umbrellas have been put away. Blackmon with a late cut at that sinking fastball, and it's 1-1.
Blackmon has turned into some kind of nice player. He's a solid player, solid hitter.
Guy who was a pitcher in high school and junior college and had to work extremely hard to make himself into a hitter capable of performing at this level in the big leagues.
Good changeup here. The location's not great. It's completely fooled by the off speed. You don't want to throw a changeup down the middle. Ideally, you want outside corner sinking.
1-2 from Syndergaard, and Blackmon pops one up. That'll get back into the seats, a foul ball. Syndergaard's only faced the Rockies once before. That was last summer here at Citi Field. So he's had the good fortune of never having to pitch at Coors Field, at least not yet in his big league career.
He will get there.
About a month shy of his 24th birthday. And what a presence. 1-2 coming, and Blackmon fouls it away. Blackmon, LeMahieu, and Gonzalez for the Rockies. The top scoring team in the National League. Obviously not quite as impactful offensively on the road, but they've had a good series. They scored 15 runs in the first 3 games. 2-2 now to Blackmon. Last night the Mets took a 2-0 lead early, but the Rockies stormed right back against Bartolo Colon and wound up winning easily 7-2. 7th pitch of this opening at bat, and Blackmon fouls back the off-speed pitch.
Little plucky hitter here, making Syndergaard work. You know what? I was waiting for this to happen. Okay, you just can't go up there and wail off a pitcher with Syndergaard's stuff. You have to become more set, more compact.
Blackmon just got a piece of that one.
You have to fight from. It's almost with with a pitcher of this quality and quality stuff and velocity, as a hitter, you almost have to go up there with like you have an 0-2 count. It might be one pitch you get the whole entire at bat, and you've got to be ready.
Ninth pitch of the at bat, and Blackman fouls off another. Well, we were talking about Syndergaard's problems with deep pitch counts and lots of foul balls, and it's presenting itself in the very first at bat of the game against him. 5 straight foul balls by Blackman to keep himself alive. Syndergaard averaging 11 strikeouts per 9 innings, but right now having trouble getting that 3rd strike.
That's a good pitch right there. He fought it off. I was waiting for the hard slider. It's the fight right here. Nice at bat.
Certainly a tone setter for Blackman at the top of this Rockies batting order that's without 2 of their bigger bats today, with Arenado and Story out of the lineup. Pitch number 11 coming up to Blackman, and it's drilled to right field. Nimmo coming on, diving, and he makes the catch. That ball froze Brandon Nimmo for a moment, and then it sunk, but Brandon able to stay with it for the first out of the afternoon.
Well, he's athletic. He is not a liability in the outfield, that's for sure. Nice adjustment here. Once you get there, he's a big leaguer. You catch that ball. Well done.
So a hard-fought first out for Noah Syndergaard. Nimmo in the minor leagues played mostly center field. He's been exposed more to the corners this year, and all of his work in the big leagues has come in left and right. Here's DJ LeMahieu taking low and in for ball 1. LeMahieu 3 for 13 in this series, drove in 3 runs in last night's game.
Five left-handed bats in this lineup against Syndergaard.
And he falls behind LeMahieu 2-0. When Syndergaard faced the Rockies last year, the Mets won easily 12-3, but LeMahieu had a home run against Noah in that game. LeMahieu's turned into a really good player. 5th in the National League in batting at .323, former Gold Glove winner at second base, and he's ahead in the count now, 3-0.
Big tall kid too. You know, usually those second basemen and middle infielders, you know, generations ago, not that many generations ago, were little short guys, but you know, they're all 6'4", 6'5". They're giants today.
Fastball pops in for a strike. Well, they might be giants.
Well, you know what? What's going to happen in 100 years from now? They're going to be 7-foot second basemen? Think about it.
They might have to move the bases back 92 or 93 feet to make room. It's the 3-1 coming. That's called strike 3 and 2.
Good pitch. Knees in black.
I mean, whoever thought there'd be a 6'9" point guard?
Exactly. Or look at the guy what the Warriors got from Oklahoma City, 6'11". Durant.
They haven't raised the basket yet.
Jeez.
Carlos Gonzalez waiting on deck. 3-2 to LeMahieu with 1 out. And he fouls back a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. So the foul balls are mounting up early for Noah. 7 of them already through the first 2 batters.
Interesting. It looks like the Rangers have kind of righted their ship. They let Houston back in the door, but they're kind of back on Houston's 5 back. That was kind of interesting to follow for a bit. Cleveland's taking control.
Fouled away. Well, the Indians made a big move today, picking up Andrew Miller from the Yankees. However, they do not get Jonathan Lucroy, who turned down the deal that was set between Milwaukee and the Indians. He had a no-trade clause, exercised it. So for the moment, Lucroy is still a Brewer. But that's a big move by the Indians, who have such a terrific starting staff, to add to their bullpen with Miller. 3-2 coming, and it's hit in the air to right field. Another chance for Nimmo, and he gets back to grab it. 2 out. Greater coverage of baseball brought to you by T-Mobile. The Yankees earlier this week traded Aroldis Chapman to the Braves. Now they send Andrew Miller to the Indians, and again they get back a pretty good haul. Clint Frazier and Justice Sheffield are both considered top 100 prospects. So the Yankees dealing 2/3 of that shutdown bullpen and getting back an enormous amount of prospect talent. The Yankees replenished their bullpen today by picking up Tyler Clippard from the Diamondbacks. So they're both sellers and buyers in that bullpen. Mets will see the Yankees for 4 games starting tomorrow. Here's Carlos Gonzalez, and he hits the breaking ball in the air to center field. Alejandro De Aza right there waiting for it. And that retires the side. 3 fly ball outs for Syndergaard in a hard-fought first inning. Mets come to bat in the bottom of the first against Chad Bettis with no score. Here's your Geico Mets starting lineup. Alejandro De Aza steps in the leadoff spot with Curtis Granderson getting a day off. No Yoenis Cespedes after he tweaked his quad again last night. So Brandon Nimmo gets a start, and so does Michael Conforto. Alejandro De Aza, who was hitting .158 at the end of June, is having himself a terrific month of July, and he'll try and get the Mets started against Chad Bettis.
And there's the Toyota numbers for Bettis. He leads the National Leagues in hits, but he's pitched better of late. 3rd year in the big leagues. First year 2 years ago, he was in relief, 21 appearances. Started last year.
De Aza takes the curveball low and away, 1-1. Bettis, 27 years old, out of Texas Tech, where he was a college teammate of A.J. Ramos of the Marlins. They both grew up in Lubbock. That's bunted toward third, a beautiful bunt, and De Aza has himself a base hit. Couldn't roll it out there any better.
Well, with the 3-time Gold Glover at third base, Nolan Arenado getting a day off. De Aza taking advantage. That's just a perfect drag bunt.
I don't care if Brooks Robinson was playing third base. That's still a hit.
I don't care if Nolan Arenado was playing third base.
So De Aza's hot July continues. He's now hitting .367 in the month of July. And the Mets have the leadoff man on for Asdrubal Cabrera. Cabrera 1 for 11 in this series. So there's the 143rd hit given up by Chad Bettis this year. Said he leads the league in hits. That almost sounds like a good thing.
Right. Well, hits allowed. That's not a good thing.
Not a good thing.
No.
Well, the league's hitting .291 against Bettis.
Right-handers surprisingly hitting better against him.
And that's been the case throughout his career. He's got a real good cutter against the lefties. That's outside, and it's 1-1 to Cabrera. James Loney sitting third in the order today with Cespedes out of the lineup, so Loney's on deck. Mets have scored just 4 runs in the last 29 innings. Looking to get off to a good start today against Bettis. Rockies' starting pitching lately has been tremendous. And Cabrera trying to bunt his way on, but right in front of the plate, and Walters gets the force. Not quite in time for the double play.
Interesting. We saw yesterday's game, the Mets trying to steal bases. And now today, right out of the get-go, or right off the bat. How about that?
Well, we've seen Cabrera try this a lot this year, trying to bunt for hits, pushing it toward third, just couldn't get it far enough away from the plate.
Nope. And heads up play by Tony Walters.
So 2-6 on the fielder's choice. Cabrera at first with 1 out. Here's James Loney. Loney 3 for 9 in this series. Didn't start yesterday. Hit a home run on Friday night for the Mets' only run in that game. And he gets this one in the air along the right field line. Gonzalez over. And has room to make the catch in fair territory for the second out. So Loney attacking the first pitch, flies out.
Your Coors Light Rocky defense, the 3-time Gold Glover in right, Carlos Gonzalez. On the infield, we got Scalzo giving Arenado a break. Adames also giving a Story a break. He got the bad thumb on that slide in yesterday's ball game. And then Tony Walters, the backup catcher, getting a start. Left-hand hitting, the left-hand hitter. So it's a Sunday afternoon in New York. And that's not by Bobby Darin.
Big City taking a nap. No naps today. Mets need the bats to wake up. Mets are 1-5 on this homestand, and they've scored 12 runs total in the 6 games. Neil Walker's had a good last few days after a long slump. 9 for 15 over the last 4. Ball and a strike to Neil. Cloudy skies after showers delayed the start of the game by 38 minutes. Cabrera at first with 2 out, and that misses away. 2-1. Last night, Jorge De La Rosa got his 100th win for Colorado. Went 6 innings, allowed 2 runs. The 19th quality start for Colorado in the month of July. That ties the most quality starts the Rockies have ever had in a calendar month in their history, which dates back to 1993. It's a franchise that's always been known for its bats and always been known for its ability to produce at home and not on the road. But they have begun to turn their pitching around, and we've seen that so far in this series.
You just, whenever you think in terms of pitching in regard to Colorado, you know, okay, they're doing it this year, but can they be consistent with it? It's so difficult to pitch at Coors Field at that high altitude.
Well, it's been impressive in this series that they've had a couple of young starters perform well. Walker gets one in the air to right field. Gonzalez chasing back to the warning track, and it's over his head, hits the wall and bounces away from him. That'll enable Cabrera to score from first. Walker on his way to third. He's got an RBI triple, and the Mets have a 1-0 lead. Meanwhile, Cabrera comes up limping as he scores the run. Oh, wow. The Mets, who are just beset by injuries, and Walker grabbing his left knee as Ray Ramirez, the athletic trainer, comes over.
This is not good. He's in a lot of pain, obviously.
So the Mets take the lead, and at the same time, their shortstop is going to have to come out of this game. So that'll mean that Wilmer Flores is going to have to play shortstop. Oh, this is bad.
I don't like the look of this at all. I got it.
Well, he got to third okay, but this happened between third and home, and as Drupal Cabrera in significant discomfort as he scores from first base on the triple by Walker. Well, the Mets just put Jose Reyes on the disabled list yesterday with the intercostal injury.
Well, we're going to take a peek here. I was watching the ball. Oh, there it is. There's the stumble. But it looked like it was his right foot, not his left.
It's the left knee, I think. Conforto grounds one right to the second baseman, and LeMahieu throws him out to end the inning. The Mets get a run, but in very painful fashion, as Cabrera scores on Walker's triple, but has to be helped to the clubhouse after apparently injuring his knee.
Oh, right there. Yep.
On the first step coming around third. Wow. What else can go wrong? Circle, haven't they? Wilmer Flores is back at shortstop for the Mets. Kelly Johnson will play third as Cabrera comes out of the game injured. David Dahl leads off in the second inning against Noah Syndergaard. Dahl in his first week in the big leagues having himself quite a time. He's hit in all 6 games he's played in. He's hit 2 home runs, including one last night that gave the Rockies the lead. And he flies one down the left field line toward the corner, and that's going to land fair and hop up against the wall, and Dahl's got himself another hit. A leadoff double. The first hit off Syndergaard this afternoon.
Well, Dahl showing a little inside out there, a little ability to fight off a pitch that got by him a little bit.
Hey,
and
David,
hit it the other way.
Hey, David Dahl, it's just not that easy. Come on.
Well, we're hopeful to get word. As soon as we get word on Cabrera's condition, folks, we will definitely get it to you.
Well, what a spate of injuries in a short period of time. The Mets already dealing with the long-term issues with David Wright and Lucas Duda out. Matt Harvey out for the season. But now in short order losing Lagares and Reyes and now Cabrera. Hurt as he came around third.
He's not looking at the bag. Watch his head, and he gets a bat off the back corner, that front corner of the bag. He loses his stride, and that's when he injured on his first stride past the bag on his left leg. Oh my goodness gracious! It's like, what have I done to deserve this? I mean, is there anything I can do to make it up? It's terrible.
Well,
I can't believe it.
We've seen the Mets go through runs of injuries before, but these have happened one on top of the other in very short order. And you know, with Cespedes out of the lineup and kind of in and out right now because of the thigh injury, that's obviously troublesome too. But then to lose players for significant periods of time it really is a test of the depth that this team has. They've been able to plug holes with guys like James Loney, but there comes a time when there aren't enough fingers to plug the dike. Inside to Mark Reynolds, and it's 3-1.
Well, it's turned out that reacquiring Kelly Johnson has been a godsend. I mean, his versatility to be able to play outfield, corner outfield positions in all the, well, outside of shortstop, but he could go there in an emergency situation, but all the infield positions.
Reynolds fouls it off. Well, so Wilmer Flores goes back to shortstop, where he was the starter last year for most of the season. Taken out of that spot when Cabrera was acquired. Last time he played short was May the 1st, which was the only time that he started at shortstop this year. It's only the 4th appearance for him at short this season. And the breaking ball in there, strike 3 called. Syndergaard with a 3-2 curveball gets Reynolds for the first out of the inning and his first strikeout of the day.
Yeah, that is not going to fool the umpire there. This is a nasty slider. Well, it had some plate, but oh, that's right to the glove. Let's see. Had a little plate.
So 1 out, Dahl still at second. Now Daniel Descalso playing third base today. Descalso getting his second start in the series. He started at first base on Thursday afternoon.
Descalso, a West Bay kid, West Bay area. Grew up in my neighborhood.
And he lines one into right center for a base hit. Dahl around third, heads home, and Nimmo's throw will be cut off, and the Rockies tie the game. So Daniel Descalso came into the day hitting .452 with runners in scoring position in a part-time role. Jumps on the first pitch from Syndergaard to drive in the tying run.
Fastball out over the plate, belt high. Good rip. Stays level, most important thing. Beautiful follow through. Nice swing. Good result for Descalso.
Well, you never know about part-time players, right? Here's Christian Adames playing shortstop today with Trevor Story out of the lineup. Last year, in his first year in Colorado, Daniel Descalso hit .205 for the full season. Now he's hitting .315.
It's year to year. It's the most difficult job there is, I feel, as the bench player. You need veterans in that position.
Well, you think about Wilmer Flores and how he struggled in that role early this year. Started to produce a little more when he got some more regular playing time. Think about Alejandro De Azu. Came here to be a starting player, wound up being a bench player, and struggled for 3 months. Fouled away by Adames, and it's 1-1.
You know, with the financial situation in today's game, with a lot of the big players getting the money, it's affected the benches. So they have to, you know, from a budget standpoint, you're not going to have the aging veteran that's on your bench that's going to command a little bit of salary, and where you really have a strong bench. And
Descalso runs. Loney fields the grinder. Syndergaard's got to get over, and he does in time to retire Adames. So on the hit and run play, Descalso winds up at second with 2 out.
A hit and run. How about that? That's an old dinosaur. And Loney is showing a lot more. He's much more aggressive going to his right now, which I like. No, a little late, getting over a little hesitation, a little stutter.
I would assume that Walt Weiss put on that hit and run to try and get Adames going, because he was 0 for his last 18. Because what that sets up now is the Mets walking the number 8 hitter Walters to go after the pitcher Bettis. Bettis is a notoriously poor hitter, 3 for 79 in his major league career. So no chances being taken by Terry Collins with the 8 hitter. Earlier in this series, Nick Hundley batting 8th, got a big hit against the Mets with first base open. And there's ball 3. So the Mets grabbing the lead in the bottom of the first on Walker's RBI triple. The Rockies getting that run right back. And now the intentional pass to Walters, putting 2 men on and bringing Bettis to the plate. So the assistant trainer Brian Chicolo back from the clubhouse and try and get word on Asdrubal Cabrera as soon as we can, but it sure did not look good.
He was in a lot of pain. And the way he misstepped coming around that bag, that first step towards home plate, rounding the bag, his foot was out of sync. It wasn't pointing forward. It was almost pointing in a what would be the word? It was almost perpendicular to the third base line. I think that's where he got fouled up.
Well,
and I agree with you, Gary. I don't think it's an ankle or anything like that. I think it's...
No, he immediately grabbed his knee.
Yep.
So I'm pretty sure that's what it is. If he's out for the long term with Reyes already out, you have to think that the Mets would be inclined to bring up Gavin Cecchini and give him a shot to play. Here's an 0-2 to Bettis, and it's off the corner. Cecchini's hitting .315 at Vegas. So, you know, former #1 draft pick, he may have to jump into the deep end.
Hey, it could be opportunity knocking for someone, you know?
Yep. Of course, the trading deadline is tomorrow, if you're inclined in that direction. 1-2 to Bettis, and he strikes out to end the inning. Second strikeout for Syndergaard after the Rockies get even on Descalzo's RBI hit. 1-1 game at Citi Field. MLB.TV Premium. Watch every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 supported devices. MLB.TV Premium includes a free subscription to At Bat Premium. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. Home second inning. Wilmer Flores leads off against Chad Bettis in a 1-1 game. Wilmer 2 for 12 in this series, and he takes the curveball down for ball 1. Brandon Nimmo on deck, and then Rene Rivera.
Of the 15 home runs that Bettis has given up in 121 in the third innings coming into the game, 11 have been to the right-hand batters. which kind of tells me that he hangs a breaking ball a little bit too much.
Homer strokes one out to left. David Dahl, with no fan to interfere with him, makes the catch, one away. Road Ahead presented by GMC. Mets have 4 games with the Yankees, first 2 at Citi Field, then 2 at Yankee Stadium. And the Mets go to Comerica Park to play the Tigers next weekend and come home for a homestand that begins with their first meetings of the year with the Arizona Diamondbacks, who have had themselves a simply dreadful season. Let's have 2 series with the Diamondbacks coming up, one here and one in Arizona. Brandon Nimmo, his first start since returning from Vegas. He made 13 starts for the Mets before being sent back down, and he certainly took advantage of his time down in Vegas. He was hitting .389 in his 9 games after going back with a couple of home runs.
When you're a young kid, Conforto, Nimmo, and you're not playing every day, you're chomping at the bit. You're like a stallion in the barn that wants to be let out and gallop. It's very difficult.
Well, my bigger question about a guy like Nimmo is you get called up to the big leagues for a few weeks, you get a little taste of what it's like, and you go back to the minors. There are guys who sulk and don't play well when they go back to the minors, but that was not the case with Nimmo.
You can't sulk. You got to go back and try to fight your way back up to the big leagues. You can't quit. Can't get your dauber down, Gary.
Well, we've seen plenty of daubers fall.
My dauber was down when I got sent down.
And how did you get your dauber back up again?
It's the first game. You're embarrassed. You feel like a failure. You get in the box and you get a nice ovation from the AAA home fans. And end of the day of that game, that first game back, you're back in. You're normally when you go back down, you've already played that year or know the team, your teammates down there, and you just have to get over the ego part and say, doggone it, I'm going to get my fanny back up there.
There's ball 4, and Nimmo's on with the 1-out walk. I just want to know, were doggone it and fanny really part of what you said? Or
Well,
with the what printables maybe in there?
That's my West Coast upbringing there. A little bit of my mom, Beaumont, Texan in me.
Here's Rene Rivera, who is celebrating his birthday today. Happy birthday, Rene. He's 33 today. Once you get past 30, baseball players hate to hear that it's their birthday. Rene started the first game of this series, went 3 for 4 with a couple of doubles. His fingerprints were all over that game, both for good and for bad.
Let me see. When I was 30, going on 33, it was 1986. I was 32 years of age during that championship season.
Bettis drops the curveball in for a strike. Well, you weren't quite the old man on that team.
Well, Foster was older than me. George, when he was there the first half.
Ray was older than you, right?
Ray was slightly older than me. Gary was a couple months older than me, kid. And then there was me.
That was it?
Fourth in command.
Well, in certain respects, perhaps, but number 1 in others. I mean, I saw that C on the chest. Looked very good on you.
And it was too big.
Well, the hockey captains, those C's are.
Yeah, it was like a hockey uniform. It should have been the small C for like McCarver. The small C. That would have been better. Anyway,
I think you should have worn a badge like a sheriff with a big C on it.
I didn't ever thought of that. I'm sorry I didn't think of that.
Cutter in the dirt, and it's 2-2 to Rivera. Noah Syndergaard waiting on deck. There he is. No C on that jersey.
That's right. Look at that. Ready to go. Look at the big guy on the left. That's a nice little. What would you? Nice.
Mike dwarfs you in that picture.
All right. Who's Zeus? Who's Poseidon?
You're Achilles. I mean, that's just too obvious.
Where's Ajax?
Nimmo at first and 1 out, 2-2 to Rivera. And Rene takes inside with a fastball. Now it's a full count. Second straight full count for Bettis.
Well, Bettis has an idea how to pitch. He likes to pitch inside the right-hander. He's got a little running fastball. When he keeps it down, it gets a little running sink. And he pitches inside. He knows what he's doing out there.
Not a big strikeout pitcher. Let's see if Nimmo runs in this circumstance with 3-2 and 1 out. Not a very big lead. Not going. And Rivera takes inside ball 4. So back-to-back walks to the 7 and 8 hitters by Bettis. Now he gives up a lot of hits. Really can't afford to be walking people.
Right.
Averages just 2.5 walks per 9 innings, but he's created an interesting call for Terry Collins because he had Syndergaard up, who's got some power, with a couple of men on and 1 out.
Give him 1 strike to swing?
Well,
I would.
For the most part, he's been allowed to swing.
The other side of the coin is this is a team that's struggling to score runs.
Yeah.
I would give Syndergaard. I'd let him rip the bat for a first strike.
I would. I think he's swinging. He's only got 2 sacrifice bunts this year. Shows it on the first pitch and takes low and in for ball 1.
Now it's 1-0. You've got a pitcher that has walked 2 batters in a row. So maybe you're going to get a fastball, and maybe you let Syndergaard swing the bat here.
He's got 5 hits this year. 4 of the 5 have been for extra bases, 2 doubles and 2 homers, and he did not comprehend the sign from Tim Tuffle, and so he's going to need a little face-to-face chat.
No, you know what? When in doubt, call a conference call and hustle like you did. I like that.
Did you see how exasperated Tuff was?
I did.
And Syndergaard didn't know the sign.
Hey, you know what? Better safe than sorry. Very aggressively in. Mark Reynolds at first base is in tight, putting a little pressure on Syndergaard at first base.
Nimmo at second, Rivera at first. Shortstop Adames right on top of Nimmo. And Syndergaard ready to swing, and he takes a strike, a borderline strike, 1-1.
All right, Tuff's going to give some more series of signs here. Let's see, make sure there's no confusion. Bunting here, I would think.
Rockies play it straight up.
Maybe not.
And Syndergaard takes a rip at a changeup, and it's 1-2.
Say one thing, this Met staff, they can hit. And not just, you know, I think in terms of like Rick Rhoden from the Pirates in my day, Don Robinson. There were 2 great hitting pitchers for those Pirate teams in the 80s.
Well, nowadays you got Jose Fernandez, Madison Bumgarner. There's some guys who are legit hitters. Adam Wainwright we saw in the last series. Alejandro De Aza waiting on deck. And the one thing you fear here when you let the pitcher swing is the double play.
Right.
But sometimes you got to take that chance. And Noah swings and strikes out on the cutter for the second out. So 2 out in the inning.
Way out in front. Might have been a changeup, Gare.
Okay.
Not sure. The way he was so far out in front.
First strikeout for Bettis. Now 2 out and 2 on for De Aza, who had a bunt single his first time up. A perfectly executed bunt. Dropped it down along the third base line, and it hugged the edge of the grass all the way down.
Let's see if the Mets can get another 2-out RBI here.
De Aza now 3 for 6 in this series. Continues his fine month of July. And he lays off the curveball, ball 1. Well, we mentioned it earlier. De Aza was brought here to be a starting player, or at least a platoon player, getting the majority of the time in center field before Yoenis Cespedes opted to re-sign with the Mets, and everything changed for De Aza. This is only the 22nd game he started all year, taking all the way a fastball strike. I mean, think about that. You come here to be a guy to play 2/3 of the time. This is the 104th game in his 22nd start. And it did not go well for him the first half of the season, but things are getting awfully better for De Aza as the season rolls along. Kelly Johnson hitting second in the order, took Cabrera's spot after Asdrubal had to be helped off the field. De Aza lines a base hit. Here comes Nimmo to score. Rivera stops at second. Alejandro De Aza continues his hot hitting and gives the Mets a 2-1 lead.
Tried to come inside with a fastball and it bled out over the middle, a little bit too much of the middle. Nice hitting by De Aza, and nice to see him coming around. With 2 outs with Nimmo's speed, look at the long legs. There's not going to throw him out.
Before that hit, Alejandro De Aza this year was 1 for 22 with runners in scoring positions. That's a big hit for him. Here's Kelly Johnson up for the first time today.
Look at the catcher. Oh, well. Shouldn't have called that one, huh?
Kelly started at first base last night. Went 2 for 3 and drove in a run. So 2 walks getting Bettis in trouble, and the Mets able to cash in. Rivera now at second. De Aza at first with 2 out. And a fastball strike.
So Bettis throwing inside the lefties also. He just needs to get a little more consistency. I mean, this is one start and we're in the second inning, but a little more consistency with his breaking stuff, his secondary pitches.
Fouled away, 1-2. This is the 30th pitch of the inning coming up for Bettis. And Johnson lays off. 2-2. Mets haven't faced Chad Bettis since early in the 2014 season. It's only his 3rd career appearance against the Mets, his 2nd start. Mets have had some good swings early on. And Johnson goes down swinging on the cutter, and that ends the inning. 2nd strikeout for Bettis. Mets have a 2-1 lead after 2. Get to Citi Field Saturday, August 13th to watch the Mets take on the San Diego Padres at 7:10 p.m. Plus, day after the game as Styx performs as part of the Mets post-game concert series presented by Budweiser, and Dave Freed can't wait. Admission to the concert is included in the price of the game ticket. For tickets, visit Mets.com/concerts. Dave's got his Styx t-shirt ready to go.
That was that era of music when Led Zeppelin was fading out, and that little period of time there.
Don't let Jimmy Page hear you say that. Fading out.
Well.
Charlie Blackmon lined out to right to open the ball game on an 11-pitch at bat against Syndergaard, and Noah quickly has him in an 0-2 hole. Syndergaard gave up a run in the second after the Mets took a 1-0 lead. Mets take the lead right back on Diaz's RBI single. And now second time through the order for Syndergaard. Blackmon, LeMahieu, and Gonzalez. He throws the slider at the feet of Blackmon, 1-2. Lowe's home field advantage. There's the career home and road numbers for Noah Syndergaard. Much prefers Citi Field. Last start, Syndergaard allowed just 2 earned runs in 6 innings, gave a 2-run homer to Jed Jerko that kind of ruined his day. It was the first game of that doubleheader Tuesday night against the Cardinals. Also made a throwing error that cost him an unearned run in that game. Blackman's been a tough out this entire series. He's worked at the 3-2 again, and he hammers that one down to Loney. Syndergaard quickly off the mound this time and easily gets the out, 1 away. Well, it seems to work that way, right? Pitcher has one instance where maybe he doesn't break immediately, and then the rest of the game is good to go.
It's like the alarm bell goes off. And I can't let that happen again. Yes, so you're on alert.
So 1 out of the top of the 3rd, and now DJ LeMahieu fly to right his first time up. And curveball bounced foul.
Oh.
Noah Syndergaard made his big league debut 14 months ago.
Well, I can see why he was a first rounder. Still don't know how you can trade an arm like that.
No, but think about his development from how raw he was 2 spring trainings ago to where he is now as one of the elite pitchers in the game.
Well, you know, Ed Lynch, still a former Met, a great friend of mine, obviously, one of my best buddies. He scouts for Toronto, and when we made the trade, I called him on the phone. We talked about Syndergaard, and he said his breaking stuff is below average, and Of course, he was going to have the philosophy of Toronto, you know, and talking to me about him. But boy, were they wrong.
Well, I have to tell you, even after the Mets made the deal and got Syndergaard into the organization, there were people in the Mets organization who weren't 100% convinced that Syndergaard was going to be a quality big league pitcher. But he has come so far so fast.
He has, and know why. The reason why is that he's got intelligence. That's what separates a lot of people with tremendous physical attributes and tools, God-given gifts. It's the people that have the brain upstairs that to harness that talent that become the real superstars. He gets it, you know. There's a lot of dolts out there, you know, over the years of my career. They just go out there and their abilities made up for a lot of things.
Were you planning on naming names?
No.
2-2 coming? Struck him out. Gets LeMahieu at 99 miles an hour. Third strikeout for Syndergaard. Well, he certainly has come a long way since his sophomore year in high school.
Jeez.
I mean, would you have even guessed that that was Noah Syndergaard?
No, you have to think you'd put him in front of a computer, lock him up, no windows.
Wow, that's a little harsh.
Only kidding. Big difference.
Well, from 16 years old to 23, he has.
I'd like to know
blossomed.
how tall he was in high school.
Here's Carlos Gonzalez. The word on Asdrubal Cabrera, a strained patella tendon in his left knee.
That patella is your kneecap, so it's something around the knee. Okay.
So the severity, no way of knowing right now, but
he's going to certainly get an MRI. That's for sure.
So it's a knee, and you know
it's going to take some time.
It's going to be some time. So that's going to have to figure out how to cope. They've got some options. Taking high 2-1. I mean, Matt Reynolds was up earlier this year, but he's struggled since going back to the minors. They've got T.J. Rivera, who had a great spring and has hit all year in Vegas, but he's not really a shortstop. They could move Flores as shortstop and bring up Rivera, who would play some third base. Or they could bring up Gavin Cecchini, as we mentioned earlier, former first-round draft pick.
Speaking of AAA, how was young Dilson Herrera doing down there?
He's done okay.
Because you know I like him.
But he's second base only. So
I understand.
Him up, you'd have to move somebody.
He doesn't. No, he doesn't fit into the equation.
I mean, he hasn't hit as well as he did earlier in the year. I think they look at him as their second baseman next year.
Right.
You know, Neil Walker's a free agent at the end of this season, and I think the plan all along has been for Herrera to man that position going forward.
Well, it's another possibility, you know, if you wanted to go the Herrera route.
Well, you'd have to move Walker to third and Flores to short, which weakens your defense.
It sure does.
A couple of different positions.
Right. And to me, if you're going to bring Herrera up, don't fool around with him and spot play him. Get him out there, let him play every day.
3-2 coming. And that's fouled to the plate. I was just thinking, you know, would there be any shortstops on the market? But the Cardinals rookie shortstop Aledmys Diaz was so impressive in the series.
He's not going anywhere.
This week. No. He had to leave the game for the Cardinals to get hit in the thumb.
Oh.
So I'm just saying there may be a team in the market for a shortstop.
Well, they're giving some tough fights here. Some good at bats against Noah. They're making them work. See, the hitters will adjust.
Already 20 foul balls against Syndergaard in the first 3 innings. And Gonzalez pulls one to right. Nimmo coming over, and he gets there to retire the side. Another hard-fought 1-2-3 inning for Noah Syndergaard. Throwing a lot of pitches early in this game. Mets lead 2-1. first 3 innings for Noah Syndergaard. He's given up just 1 run, but 62 pitches already through the first 3. An amazing number of foul balls have been hit against Syndergaard these last half dozen starts, and something we weren't seeing earlier in the season. James Loney leads off in the home third. Loney flied out to right his first time up.
What's he got in the back of his socks? They're orange. Like the fake stirrups? You got the orange sanitary socks on Loney?
Yeah, he's been wearing those when he hikes up his pants for the day games. He's been wearing those orange socks underneath the blue stirrups.
What do you think about that?
I am not a big fan.
I think it's hideous. But it's no.
But it's, you know, it's his thing.
It's fine.
It's his signature element. I wonder, is it within the uniform code? I mean, if this was the NFL, he'd be fined immediately.
I always like the white sandies, but then again, I've been called an old dinosaur. I'll own up to it.
On the outside corner, Loney's caught looking, and Bettis has his 3rd strikeout of the day.
Loney thought that was outside. Might have been. Too close to take. Too close.
Keith, if you really are in that select group, you are certainly the T-Rex.
You think I'm not an Allosaurus?
No, I think you are. You're the king. Top of the food chain.
I would definitely be a meat eater.
You wouldn't have it any other way.
I wouldn't be one of those big brontosauruses eating off the leaves. I wouldn't be doing that.
Stegosaurus. I don't see that. See you with those little short arms and the big teeth. Neil Walker banged one off the fence in right field for a triple and drove in the first Met run, his first triple as a Met. And he hits this one up the middle, and he's got another multiple hit game.
Well, he's waiting on that ball nicely. Now, he was slumping. He was out in front. Nothing's changed in this game. 1 for 4 last night.
Well, you can't be colder than Neil was for a few weeks in a 2 for 39 stretch, and he can't be hotter than he is right now. Now 11 for his last 17.
Right. He's just waiting, seeing the ball good. It's funny how that game goes. When you bust out of that slump, the more prolonged the slump, the hotter the streak is when you break out.
There's Michael Conforto, who grounded out his first time up. Conforto had a few nice at bats after he first came back from AAA. Got some base hits to left field particularly, but now 0 for his last 10. Bettis falls behind him 2-0.
Big pull on Conforto. Boy, you never would have thought that when he came up right of the way. He swung the bat. He used left center field. He'd be one of those guys that they would not be allowed to play a shift on in the infield on the right side. You can see right there. There's our 3 guys on that right side of the infield.
Well, he's tried to become a little less pull conscious than he was when he fell into that big slump in May and June.
Well, you know, sometimes you can start thinking too much. I'm not saying that it's Conforto's circumstance. I have no idea. And sometimes you just need to go back to basics and see the ball and hit it, and let your reactions, your hand-eye coordination, your quickness take over.
Tries to hold, and he stopped it in time. Alan Porter with the call, 3-2.
He's a little out in front, and his timing is off. He hasn't been playing much. And it's not an easy spot he's in. But this is going to be an enormous learning year for Mr. Conforto.
3-2 and 1 out. Walker at first. Not running. And Conforto fouls off the fastball. Both these pitchers have thrown a lot of pitches early in this game. Syndergaard 62 through 3. Bettis at 57 with 1 out in the 3rd. Walker was not running on the first 3-2 pitch. Running this time, and Conforto grounds one to LeMahieu, who will have to go to first. So by putting Walker in motion, the Mets stay out of the double play. He's now at second with 2 out. Tonight, get a complete breakdown of the Ryan Fitzpatrick deal, plus a behind-the-scenes look at Jets camp as the crew reports from Florham Park on Jets Nation Inside Camp premieres tonight at 8 o'clock, only on SNY. Mets have been a little more aggressive in this series on the bases, getting down some bunts.
I just think they got to roll the dice all the time, put people in motion. Garrett, they can't play station to station. Well, by putting people in motion, you know, hit and run is a thing of the past. And I've talked with Terry. Terry does not like the hit and run. He came from that Dodgers school, which is surprising to me, because the Dodgers were always kind of when I grew up, was a bunch of ping hitters. And made things happen, but they stole bases. When I say put people in motion, I just think when it's a 3-2 count, 3-1 count, send the guys. Try to make it happen.
Well,
try to make it happen.
Especially when you've got a guy on the mound who's not a big strikeout pitcher. If you've got a big strikeout pitcher on the mound, it's really tough to put guys in motion in that circumstance, because then you're risking that strike him out, throw him out. Especially on a team without a lot of speed.
Oh. And Wilmer gets drilled and he stares out at Bettis. Not happy with that at all.
He didn't. Not intentional.
91-mile-an-hour fastball.
I don't know why Wilmer got upset there. Stuff happens. That was not an intentional throw. It happens. You get hit once in a while.
I would only wonder about this. You know, Wilmer took great offense last night at his home run being overruled and called fan interference, and used some very harsh language. It wasn't directed at the Rockies.
Right.
It wasn't their fault, but I mean, that hit him right in the middle of the back, Keith.
I know.
It certainly didn't look good.
Well, it's almost like it's foul play to hit someone today's game. It's just.
Sixth batter Bettis has hit this year. Now the Mets have 2 on for Nimmo, who walked and scored his first time up. That's with a 2-1 lead in the 3rd. Two on and 2 out.
And Nimmo lines up base hit. Walker to third. He's being weighted tall. Dahl's throw is cut off. And the Mets add a run. Brandon Nimmo cashes one in with a 2-out RBI hit, and it's 3-1 New York.
All 3 runs are 2-out base hits, Gary. Something the Mets have just been really horrific at this season. Breaking on the base. 2 outs. You're on the contact. You're breaking. Nimmo with that big smile all the time.
So Nimmo, his first start since his return from Vegas, a walk and now an RBI hit. And the Mets have scored in each of the first 3 innings against Bettis and lead 3-1. Now Rene Rivera on his 33rd birthday, who walked his first time up, and he grounds one foul. Well, best revenge after your batter gets hit. Just a drive and a run.
Depleted lineup.
Mets came into the day as a team hitting 166 this year with 2 outs and runners in scoring position.
Yes.
And they've had one of those each of the last 2 innings.
3 for 3. Well, not really. I mean,
first inning it was not a runner in scoring position, but a 2-out hit nonetheless.
Nonetheless. So it's good to see. Positive.
Bettis ahead on Rivera 0-2. I'll also say this about Flores' reaction, and I'm sure this wasn't on Wilmer's mind, but you know the Mets already lost Asdrubal Cabrera to injury in this game. They don't really need to get anybody else hurt.
Well, I don't think that was on Flores' mind. I think he was. No, you get hit. It happens. Sometimes they hit you on purpose. Not very much today.
And Rivera foul tips it. It's held by Walters for strike 3. Rivera says the ball hit the ground, but the home plate umpire Jeff Kellogg says no.
Can I say one thing about a foul tip? Your focus as a hitter is on the ball, and your focus is on when your swing in the your focus is in front. Yeah, that's a catch.
Yep.
So how do you know that ball hit the dirt?
Good call by Kellogg. Mets had a run on Nimmo's 2-out hit, lead 3-1 after 3. Now with a 3-1 lead. He'll face David Dahl leading off in the 4th. Let's go to Steve Gelbs. This report today is brought to you by the Kia Top Quality Sales Event. Steve?
Gary, you guys were talking about Noah Syndergaard and how much he's grown in the last year and a half, really, since he's come up to the majors. And, you know, one area where Syndergaard says he thinks he's grown the most, actually, is in how he perceives velocity. And what he meant by that is that when he first came up, Syndergaard said when he was trying to throw the ball harder, he would actually grip the ball tighter. But after watching specifically Jacob deGrom pitch for a few months, as Dahl lines this one into left field, and that gets to the wall, Gary.
Poorly played by Conforto, and Dahl racing for third, and he'll get in standing. Conforto got caught in between that time trying to make a catch and trying to play it on a hop, and it short hopped right by him.
Single and a 2-base error. Now he comes in, he backs off, and he stays with the backhand. when he made his decision to back off, he should have tried to keep his body in front. But it was misplayed, and the Rockies are in business. That's really one of the few balls I've seen Conforto misplay in the outfield. Single and a two-base error.
So Dahl is 2 for 2, and now Mark Reynolds. Let's go back for Steve.
Well, guys, what I was saying is Syndergaard, after watching Jacob deGrom, we've talked about how he likes to watch the other guys pitch and learn things from them. He noticed how loose he was with his grip and how fluid his motion became because of it. Realized you could actually get not just better control, but more movement on your pitches with a loosened grip. And so Syndergaard has implemented that in his own repertoire here, and he thinks that's improved a lot of his own control and a lot of the nastiness of certain pitches.
Well, it holds true with hitting. You can't squeeze the bat.
Grounded down to third. Johnson will hold the runner and throw out Reynolds one away. Well, I always heard pitchers say you hold the ball like an egg, right? Loose grip.
Right.
Don't want to break that egg.
Precisely. And it rolls off on your fingertips and your middle finger and your index finger, and you're squeezing it. Can't do much.
So one away. Dahl still at third. Here's Daniel Descalso, who drove in the Rockies run with a base hit in the second.
Remember, first ball fastball he hit last time. He attacked first pitch.
He does again and fouls back the fastball. Descalso's had himself quite a year. Missed the first 6 weeks with a fractured hand, but the former Cardinal has had himself a wonderful year in a part-time role, up to .317 for the year. And over .450 with runners in scoring position. And he's got another one out there. Slider at his feet, 1-1.
Mets conceding the run. Johnson at third base is the only one playing in. That has a play at the plate if the ball's hit to him.
Descalso hits one out to left, not all that deep, toward the sidewalk and Conforto, and he runs out of room. So now 1-2 to Descalso. What about David Dahl? First week in the big leagues. This guy's making this game look too easy. 2 for 2 today. 7 for 13 in this series. 10 for 25, hitting .400 in his first week in the majors with a couple of home runs. Joining an already potent Rockies lineup. Syndergaard needs a strikeout. And he bounces the slider. 2-2. Christian Adames waiting on deck. Syndergaard's given up only 3 hits and an intentional walk, but so many long at bats, leading to another elevated pitch count early in this game. 2-2 coming. And Descalso lines another RBI hit. Boy, he is just having himself a phenomenal year with runners in scoring position. He drives in Dahl for the second time today to cut the Mets lead to 3-2.
Well, Descalso is a singles doubles hitter. Level. Got in on him a little bit, but not enough. Nice hitting.
So 2 RBI hits today for the Cal Davis product.
Sacramento. Cal Davis.
I thought it was in Davis.
Well, outside of Sacramento. In the general neighborhood.
Where they grow the tomatoes?
They have that agricultural program there. It's one of the best in the country.
Because I think Sacramento, I think tomato juice.
Sacramento? Tomato juice?
You've never heard of Sacramento tomato juice?
No, I never had. I don't like tomato juice.
Oh, they used to run ads all the time.
I think of politicians when I think of Sacramento.
Big gold can, Sacramento.
Sutter's Mill.
Christian Adames grounded out his first time up and takes it high 2-0.
Isn't it the Dan Barb, our director? He's a Northern California kid. It's a Truckee River run through. Is it the Truckee River, Danny, that runs through Sacramento? Double check between directing the cameras.
I think he's a little busy right now. Ready to take 2.
I could be wrong.
Ready for it, take 4. It's too busy to check rivers for you.
We like to get Dan involved in the broadcast. Ah, it's the American River, my mistake.
Syndergaard behind 2-0 on Adames, the backup shortstop. And now 3-0 against a guy who's 0 for his last 19. So Syndergaard finding the going a little bit rough. The error by Conforto put him in jeopardy. The Scouts were able to cash in that run. And now 3-0 to the light hitting Adames. There's a strike. Tony Walters, the number 8 hitter, left-hand batting catcher, waiting on deck. And the Mets going to need plenty of bullpen today to get through this game. Descalzo at first and 1 out. And Adames swings through the fastball, 3-2. Trevor Story out of the lineup today. Jammed his thumb on a slide last night. They took x-rays. They were negative. The Rockies trainers said they think he should be able to get back in the lineup by Tuesday. So Adames filling in for him today. 3-2 and 1 out. Descalzo the tying run at first. He's running. Adames fouls it off. So even with a strikeout pitcher on the mound, while Weiss putting Descalzo in motion.
With a strikeout pitcher on the mound.
Jinx. It's 23 foul balls against Syndergaard in less than 4 innings. It's a lot of souvenirs and a lot of running up with the pitch count.
Yes, it is.
Scalzo runs again. Pitches ball 4. No, strike 3, and the throw to second is in time. Late call by the home plate umpire Jeff Kellogg. And it's a strike him out, throw him out double play. The Rockies want to challenge, I believe, on the call at second base.
It's a late call.
Very late call. Jeff Kellogg came out of his stance.
Make the call. It's too important.
The throw was almost to second base by the time he made the call.
But as a player, you can't assume anything. You got to complete the play. Oh, he might. Ooh.
Yeah, he might have beaten the tag by Flores. Wilmer well in front of the bag as he took that throw.
And it's a good slide, too. So glad to see someone know how to slide.
And the Rockies are going to challenge the call.
It's just not a good tag by Wilmer.
So it's a strikeout of Adames for certain. That's the second out. The question is whether the call at second base will be overturned and the inning will be prolonged. Mets had already come off the field, but Rockies challenging the call, and they may well win this challenge. Right, Descalzo's foot got to the base before the tag hit him in the midsection.
It's a tough one. I don't know. I don't think it's. It's close.
So that's for Jerry Davis's crew and Brian Gorman's crew in the replay center in Chelsea to figure out.
Why don't we get rid of this replay?
Because
it's just terrible. It just slows the game. It stinks. Let the umpires be alpha males and make calls and stand by their calls.
Play under review brought to you by Mazda. Driving matters.
It's just bad. I'm sorry. Let me go for a cup of coffee. Take a walk around the block.
Well, you can go get a cup of coffee. We'll hold the fort while you're getting your cream and sugar. Jeff Kellogg, the crew chief, on the headset along with Chris Guccione, who made the call, and now we get the resolution, and it is overturned. So a safe call, and Descalso is at second, and the inning continues.
You know, if I was an umpire, I would be embarrassed to be overturned. You know, I want to be a good umpire, make the calls. Umpires are going to miss calls in the course of a long career out there. But you know what? I want to be 90% right. And if I get it wrong, I kind of want to be ticked off. I just think that this just creates a crutch. That if I get it wrong, I don't know. But okay, we'll go to Chelsea. We'll just delay the game 2 minutes.
So Descalso gets his first stolen base of the season, and the Mets, as they did in the second inning, intentionally walked Tony Walters to fill the empty base and bring up the pitcher Bettis. What that does more than anything else, that overturned call, unless Bettis comes through with a hit, is that it runs up Syndergaard's pitch count even further. Already getting to untenable numbers in the fourth inning. He has to face at least one more batter. He struck out Bettis his first time up. The way this game has featured the first 2 intentional walks of Tony Walters' major league career. So you can always say you were there for that.
I'll remember that. When my kids are gathered around my hospital bed and I'm on my way out, I go, girls, I remember this game.
I'm sure you will. Now. 0-2 to Bettis.
Late.
It took Jeff Kellogg long enough to call that a third strike, didn't it?
Yeah, you should speed it up, but as a player, you continue to play.
Here's the 0-2. Well, as a player now, you have to continue after every call because, you know, it might be replayed.
Right.
Might be reviewed. They call a player out, have to tag him again, just to be sure. One-two coming, and Bettis strikes out to end the inning. So inning prolonged, but inning put to bed by Syndergaard after the Rockies get a run. 3-2 New York in the fourth.
I'm going for coffee.
today's Verizon trivia question. Who are the only 2 players with 30 or more home runs as both a Met and a Rocky? I assume career 30 or more home runs, right? 30 or more home runs as a Met and 30 more home runs as a Rocky.
Huh.
Noah Syndergaard leads off for the Mets in the home 4th against Chad Bettis. Syndergaard struck out his first time up. As it scored a run in each of the first 3 innings, putting up a nice picket fence against Chad Bettis. How many ones do you need to call it a picket fence? 3, 4, 5? I mean, 2 is not enough.
What are you talking about?
If you look at the scoreboard, the bottom part of the scoreboard, 1, 1, 1. It's picket fence. So how many do you...
I've never heard that.
Wait a second.
I've never heard
So
that.
you've never heard of Sacramento tomato juice? What was it yesterday that he had never heard of?
Oh, I tried the one term you brought up.
Yeah.
I never heard of it. I've never heard of picket fence.
Oh, drop in the apron.
I've never heard that.
Lift in the apron.
Lift in the apron.
And now the picket fence.
I almost got offended at that comment, that apron comment.
What's nice is that we can continue to educate you on a daily basis, because, you know, I feel being with you that I'm being educated night by night. But I'm glad we can expand your horizons as well. So as a newcomer to the term picket fence, as Syndergaard strikes out, 5 strikeouts for Bettis, how many ones do you think you need in a row to legitimately call it a picket fence?
I think all 9 innings.
No, come on.
You can't have a game.
But that's never happened.
I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. What do you think?
I think 3 is the start. I think 4 would make it more legit. Then all you need is Tom Sawyer to come along and whitewash the picket fence.
I'm trying to have a visualization here, and it just doesn't not working.
You are a recalcitrant sort. Alejandro Diaz is 2 for 2 already today. A bunt single in the first, single to center to drive and a run in the second. Finally got off the interstate last night and now cruising toward new routes. Having himself quite a month of July, hitting .387 now in July after hitting .158 at the end of June. Foul tip, 1-2. Kelly Johnson waits on deck.
Playing Diaz with a big shift too.
And he goes down swinging. Walters puts a tag on him, and that's the second out. So 3 straight strikeouts now for Bettis, who has 6 for the day.
He's got a nice little changeup. It's very effective against the left-handers, but what makes it more effective is the fact that he pitches inside, which you have to. You have to establish in to make your off-speed pitches and secondary pitches effective.
Now Kelly Johnson up for the second time. Kelly came in when Asdrubal Cabrera hurt his knee. Cabrera diagnosed with a strained patella tendon. Hurt it coming around third as he scored a run.
And off Kelly, they're playing the same shift as with Conforto and Diaz. 3 guys on the right side of the infield. So this is kind of a pattern here, defensive pattern for the Rockies. I wonder if it's because of what Bettis's tendencies are, Gary. You know, he likes to throw that changeup to left-hand hitters, but get him out in front to roll it over. There's definitely a pathology here.
How's your coffee, Keith?
It's good. I needed it. During that break there when they went to Chelsea, I almost fell asleep.
Curveball pulled down to first. Sliding stop by Reynolds. A low toss, but Bettis handles it. And he's got himself his first 1-2-3 inning of the afternoon. by your Tri-State Ford dealers who invite you to test drive a new Ford. You'll discover why Ford is the total package.
On to the 5th.
It's been an overcast day at Citi Field. We had rain showers earlier that delayed the start of the game by 38 minutes.
Look at those championship flags. Very nice.
Third time around the batting order for Noah Syndergaard. Charlie Blackmon leads off. Blackman's a tough 0 for 2, lined out to right and grounded out to first. He's been one of the culprits running up Syndergaard's pitch count. 87 pitches through 4, although 8 of those came on 2 intentional walks. And I would suspect that when they measure his pitch count in the dugout, those 8 pitches on the 2 intentional walks don't get counted. But look at his recent pitch count numbers, and the numbers have kept him from getting deeper into games. 5 times in the last 6 starts, hasn't gone past 6. That's pulled down the right field line, and Blackman's got himself another extra base hit. Charlie Blackman's 5th double in this series puts the tying run at second with nobody out.
What was did you see the miles per hour in this? As a changeup, and he just waited on it nicely. He is a nice hitter.
Here's DJ LeMahieu, who's flied out and struck out 0 for 2. That's 5 hits now against Syndergaard. He struck out 5, but he has not been at his overpowering best today. LeMahieu fouls one off. Got to watch out for Blackmon. He can steal third. 13 stolen bases this year, including 1 in this series. And of course, Syndergaard has great vulnerability to the steal.
Yes.
29 this year, the most allowed in the majors. Flores keeping an eye on Blackmon as he dances around off the bag, and time is called on a balk.
Oh.
A balk against Syndergaard as Blackmon was dancing off second base. So no steal necessary. He winds up at third on the balk.
I was not watching because I was watching all the gyrations that Blackmon was doing on the bases. Oh yeah, he flinched. He flinched.
So now the tying run at third with nobody out. First balk of Syndergaard's career.
It's like finding I gotta think the right word here. I don't want to say it this way. Finding a soft spot or an underbelly in the armor. And they're trying to exploit that with him. And try to rattle him.
An Achilles heel. One and 2 to LeMahieu. Little chopper back to Syndergaard. Blackmon will hold, and there's the first out of the inning.
Well, he's got 2 tough left-handed marks coming up here to get out of this inning.
First one's Carlos Gonzalez, who's flied to center and lined to right. Gonzalez started the day with a 12-game hitting streak. Already has 3 extra base hits in this series. Blackmon at third. Johnson's got to stay fairly close to third base, even with the pull-hitting left-hand batter out. Gonzalez fouls off the fastball.
One thing that Gonzalez doesn't do is that he's got this beautiful swing, and you know, a guy like this out there, you can't just take that relaxed, easy swing. You got to get a fly ball here, but he doesn't make the adjustment, and he's got a beautiful swing, but there's a little more. A chance to tie the ball game up here. We're in the middle of the ball game, and you just
So what would you have him do?
I would have him get more set and try to hit more, like you got 2 strikes on you, not this big long swing.
He cracks that one toward the gap in right center field, and that'll get the tying run home. Blackman is in to score. Gonzalez goes to second with an RBI double, and the Rockies have come back to tie it again 3-3.
I'm beginning to think, Gary, that I mean we have seen Syndergaard where people are not on his fastball. And they're kind of getting on his fastball there. There's a ball in the outer part of the plate. And it makes me think that he's maybe not throwing as hard as he did last year and earlier in the year. Now, whether it's the elbow, you know, the spur in there, and he's holding back a little bit, but there's too many hitters that are turning on him, particularly in this game.
So the Rockies have fought back to tie. Now Gonzalez at second with 1 out for David Dahl, who's already 2 for 2 in this game, and Syndergaard starts him with a slider. Dahl twice has gone to left field. He doubled into the left field corner in the second, and then he singled in front of Conforto to lead off the 4th. Conforto let it get by him for an error that led to an unearned run. And now the Rockies have added another to get even. Another slider, and it's 0-2. Syndergaard's now given up 3 runs, 2 of them earned on 6 hits. About to throw his 100th pitch of the afternoon. No action as yet in the Mets bullpen. One-two to Dahl, and he gets jammed and rolls one to the right side. Walker throws him out. Gonzalez goes to third, 2 away. So Dahl retired for the first time today, and that'll bring on Mark Reynolds. Cardinals just rallied for 2 in the 8th to tie up Miami 4-4. Those 2 teams went into the day tied for the second wild card spot behind the Dodgers. 2.5 games in front of the Mets. Reynolds 0 for 2 is struck out and grounded out, and the fastball misses inside, ball 1. It was Andrew Cashner's first start for the Marlins, and that went very well. Cashner went 6, allowed 2 runs, only 1 earned on 4 hits. But the Cardinals tied it in the 8th against Fernando Rodney. Wild cut by Reynolds on the slider, and it's 1-1.
Nice block by Rivera.
Gonzalez at third with 2 down. And the fastball pops inside, 2-1.
And that one goes past Rivera, but it comes right back to him, and Rivera makes the tag and gets Gonzalez to end the inning. The Rockies may well challenge the call. Gonzalez felt he got his hand in, but home plate umpire Jeff Kellogg said Rivera got the tag before Gonzalez got there.
Well, here we go right here. Oh, he may have slipped in.
Did he hit the plate?
He got the plate. The overhead is a good angle. I'd like to see that again. Very fortunate bounce. There's the plate right there. He got it. It's a tough call.
You sure he got it? Because his hand could have gone over the plate.
Well,
and that's what you lose with the overhead there. So it's going to be an interesting one for them to try and decipher in Chelsea. That's that small distance between the plate and the backstop here and the hard material. We've seen that more than once. That ball coming back strongly to Rivera to give him a chance here.
I think he's safe.
Well, at that angle, I did not see his hand touch the plate. Let's see.
Right there, over the corner.
I don't know. Maybe.
It's just.
Play under review brought to you by Mazda. Driving matters. This is a tough one.
A very fortunate bounce, and look at everybody waiting around.
The call on the field was out, so they need definitive evidence that Gonzalez touched the plate and did so before the tag in order to overturn it. And they confirmed the call.
Okay.
So not enough evidence to convict. And the Mets retain the tie. Rivera able to get a tag on Gonzalez to the satisfaction of the umpire. Yeah, he never touched the plate, Keith. I think his hand went right over the plate and missed it. And I think that's probably why the call stood as it did. That's a tough one, though. Halfway through, Mets and Rockies tied at 3. James Loney leading off the bottom of the 5th inning in what is now a 3-3 game. Mets led 1-0 and 3-1. Rockies have come back to tie twice. Almost took the lead, but missed by a fingernail. Ball and a strike to Loney, who's flied out and struck out 0 for 2. Very close play at the plate. Rene Rivera putting a tag on Carlos Gonzalez, and replay upholding the call. Two and 1 to Loney. This is in real time how quickly this happens.
Well, just lucky the bounce carrying back right to Rene, and really a heads-up play by Gonzalez. He was quick on his react. Oh boy, you might be right, Gary. He may have missed it.
Ground ball right behind the bag. That's Adames, the shortstop, to throw out Loney. That had to be what they saw in Chelsea, that they just didn't feel there was enough evidence that he actually touched the plate, that his hand might have gone over the top of it. But quite an effort by Cargo to go to the front side that way, and great effort by Rivera to make that diving tag. Because I don't think Syndergaard was going to get there to be able to get a throw.
No. So it's been a hard day at the office for Syndergaard.
105 pitches through 5 innings. But he may go out there for the 6th the way it's looking. Here's Neil Walker. Remember, 8 of those pitches were unintentional walks, so by that measure he's still under 100. Walker's already 2 for 2 in this game. He's got 4 multiple hit games in the last 5. 11 for his last 17. Suddenly red hot, and he drills that one right at the first baseman Reynolds for the 2nd out. So even Walker's outs are hard now.
So it's official. He's out of his slump.
6 in a row retired by Bettis, and now he'll face Conforto. Now look at Syndergaard. I don't think he was going to get there in time.
Nope, definitely not.
Conforto takes a curveball for a strike. Michael now 0 for his last 11. There's your 4th, 5th inning recap. Neil Walker tripled in a run in the 1st inning, but on that play, Asdrubal Cabrera got hurt, had to leave the game with a knee injury. Noah Syndergaard has slogged his way through 5 in a 3-3 game. 1-2 to Conforto. Other Mets runs came on RBI hits by De Aza and Nimmo, as the Mets scored in each of the first 3 innings, but the Rockies have twice come back to tie.
Nice.
It's a sliver of action.
Feel like
strike 3 called. Conforto caught looking to end the inning. 7 strikeouts for Bettis, who's now retired 7 in a row after 5, tied at 3. Yankees begin their 4-game home-and-home series right here on SNY. 6 o'clock the coverage tomorrow night from Game 1 here at Citi Field. There are the Citi probables for the first 2 games. The Citi Field portion. Logan Verrett against CC Sabathia tomorrow. Jacob deGrom, Masahiro Tanaka Tuesday night. Mark Reynolds leads off the 6th inning. Tanaka has been by far and away the Yankees' best starting pitcher. The rest of that rotation has struggled. And who knows what to expect from their bullpen now that it's been completely retooled.
Not retooled, decimated.
Well, Chapman and Miller gone. They did add Tyler Clippard today from Arizona, but I guess that sets up Dylan DeTansis to be the closer.
And they just lost 2 key components. It's hard to replace that.
And they got Adam Warren back in the trade for Chapman, so he's going to fill a role in that bullpen. And the wild card now is, remember they had Luis Severino working as a starter. Now he's back and working in the bullpen throwing 98 miles an hour, so he might be an important piece for the Yankees, at least for the moment. Although it looks like they're going to make him a starter again eventually. Scott Oberg up in the Colorado bullpen. He's already been a hero in this series so far. Meanwhile, Syndergaard sent back to the mound over 100 pitches. He's at 109 now. His career high is 116. He did that last year against Arizona. Jerry Blevins getting ready. You got a left-hand hitter on deck in Descalso, so this could be Syndergaard's last batter. 2-2 to Reynolds, and the curveball. Did he go? He went around. Strike 3. Boy, I don't first base umpire John Tumpane with the call.
Well, Reynolds didn't like that call, and I'm kind of inclined to agree here. Yep.
6 strikeouts now for Syndergaard. And he will stay in to face Descalso, who's had a big hand in this game. 2 RBI singles in the second and again in the fourth. And the first pitch curveball misses for ball 1. Change up. 1-1 to Descalso. Syndergaard's given up 3 runs on 6 hits. His 2 walks have both been intentional, but a ton of foul balls. 2-1 to Descalso. Already 25 foul balls against Syndergaard in this game. He had a similar number in that start in Chicago 2 starts back. Slow ground ball. Flores comes in to get it, and Wilmer makes the play. That's the first ground ball that Wilmer has handled at shortstop since he moved over there with the injury to Cabrera earlier in the game. Well, with the Yankees series coming up, let's get more from Steve Gelb. Steve?
Well, Gary, you guys were talking about the new look Yankees bullpen, and while they've taken a step back certainly for the present, they've really done a remarkable job reloading for the future. Now have 7 of Baseball America's top 100 prospects in their system, and number 21 on that list is the centerpiece of the deal today. Clint Frazier. He was the 5th overall pick in 2013. I spoke to multiple people who have seen him at different levels today, and really seems like this guy is the real deal. Well above average bat speed. He drives the ball to all fields. Real power guy that has some good speed and could potentially one day be an all-star center fielder in this league based on what I've been hearing. So the Yankees have done really well for themselves reloading for the future.
They'll make him cut his hair, won't they, Steve?
They will. He tweeted about that, I believe.
Did he really?
Yeah, he said time to go to the barber shop.
Christian Adames flies one along the left field line. Conforto watches it go out of play. 1-2. Well, the Yankees also got a left-hand pitcher, Justice Sheffield, who's also a top 100 prospect in that deal from Cleveland. So the Indians made one big deal by getting Andrew Miller, but were turned down for the other when Jonathan Lucroy invoked his no-trade clause. The Brewers were going to get a huge package of prospects from the Indians in that trade, but no dice. In comes De Aza to catch the fly ball from Adames, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Syndergaard in the 6th. Nice job by Noah to get through 6 in a 3-3 game. 4 for the MLB trade deadline. Get up to the minute news and reaction from around the league on Daily News Live. Trades deadline special tomorrow starting at 4 right here on SNY. 3-3 game as we go to the bottom of the 6th. Wilmer Flores leads off. He got drilled in the back his last time up by Chad Bettis, and he tries to unload on the first pitch sinker and comes up empty, 0-1. Well, Noah Syndergaard threw a career high 118 pitches this afternoon. His work is done after 6 innings. Grounded down to first, and Reynolds has it. Flores retired 1 away. Well, back in the first inning, the Mets got their first run, but they lost another player. Walker with a long triple, and Asdrubal Cabrera scoring from first.
See the bad carom off the wall there. This brought this whole thing on. Looked down away from the bag on the turn, and it was not a pretty sight. In a lot of pain.
Strained patella tendon in his left knee. No immediate prognosis, but you have to assume that Asdrubal is going to be out for a while. And the Mets are going to have to figure out a game plan at shortstop. Brandon Nimmo takes a strike. I mean, what makes more sense? Does it make more sense to just leave Wilmer at shortstop, where he has played a significant amount of time now in the major leagues, or to bring up a kid like Cicchini to play shortstop? Even though he's not had a great defensive season in AAA, he has hit.
I'm inclined to bring the kid up.
I'm with you. I mean, you could bring up T.J. Rivera, but he's not a shortstop, so you could bring him up to play third and leave Wilmer at short. As you mentioned earlier, you could bring up Dilson Herrera, move Walker to third, and play Flores at short.
I'll let the kid play. Let's see what he can do.
Or they might go with the safer option. You know, Matt Reynolds has played in the big leagues before, so they could bring him back, even though he hasn't played all that well since going back to Vegas. So they have a lot of options within the system, or with the trading deadline tomorrow afternoon, who knows? There might be something there. Nimmo's driven in a run with a base hit and drawn a walk, and Brandon takes the breaking ball down. 2-2. Rene Rivera waiting on deck. Rockies 3 runs, 6 hits. The Mets 3 runs, 5 hits. The Mets have led 1-0 and 3-1, and Colorado's come back to tie twice. Bettis has settled in and retired 8 in a row. And Nimmo slugs one foul. Bettis trying to get through this inning without allowing a 4th run. Could give the Rockies their 20th quality start in July, which would be the most they've had in any month in the franchise's history. Strike 3 called. The knee-high fastball gets Nimmo looking. 8 strikeouts for Bettis, matching his career high. Let's check in with the studio. Doug Williams has a game break brought to you by your local Honda dealer. All right, so Miami goes a game up on St. Louis for the 2nd wild card spot in the National League. There's Rene Rivera with 2 out, and he fouls one off. Don't think we've mentioned this in the course of the broadcast, but you know, Cabrera hurting that left knee. That's the same knee that he sat out with for about 3 weeks during spring training this year. So it's not necessarily an injury he hasn't had before. Rivera hits it sharply right at the shortstop Adames. Off the bag comes Reynolds, chases Rivera, who's called out, and that retires the side. 10 in a row retired by Chad Bettis, who played 6 at Citi Field with the Mets and Rockies tied at 3. SNY's Super Slow Motion is brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers. Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing. You know, Brandon Nimmo's smile can light up a room.
It can.
Jerry Blevins will come in to pitch the 7th inning.
Well, there's his numbers, and he's been doing quite a job. Mainly a left-handed specialist. Comes in a lot of times, just gets one out.
Will come in to face Tony Walters, the left-hand batting catcher. Ryan Rayburn is out on deck to bat for the pitcher Bettis. And a drag bunt. Gets it past the pitcher, and Walters beats it out easily.
Beautiful bunt.
So Walters on base for the 3rd straight time.
Left-hander following through on the third base side. And that is just a picture-perfect bunt.
Walters was a middle infielder until 3 years ago when the Indians moved him behind the plate, so he can still run. So now it's Ryan Rayburn, who has 3 pinch hit home runs this season. Rayburn had a base hit as a pinch hitter last night on a check swing grounder that went right down the right field line. And he takes the curveball inside from Blevins, ball 1. So Syndergaard threw 118 pitches today. That's the most by a Mets starting pitcher since August of 2014, when Zach Wheeler threw 120. Syndergaard went 6, allowed 3 runs, 2 of them earned on 6 hits. Walked 2, both intentional, struck out 6. And leaves with a no decision. He also committed a balk. And Rayburn has to move his feet, and it's 2-0. So Syndergaard's ERA goes up a tad from 2.45 to 2.48. Started the day 4th in the major leagues in ERA. Blevins buying himself some quick trouble. And Rayburn fouls back the fastball, 2-1. Walters at first and nobody out. And that one sails by Rivera, and Walters will go to second.
That's got to be a pass ball. Is that cross up?
I think he must have gotten crossed up. He was looking for a curveball, I think, and got a fastball.
Pass ball, though. Yep.
Well, that's a key pass ball because it moves the go-ahead run into scoring position with nobody out. 3-1 count to Rayburn with Charlie Blackmon waiting on deck. Fouled off, 3-2. Three and 2 to the pinch hitter Rayburn. And the curveball, Rayburn able to foul it off.
Boy, he got a hanger right there to rip. He had a cut. He's got that front. Look at that front foot pointing back towards Rivera. Goodness. It looks painful to do that. Someone taught him that, and
keep all from overstriding.
I have no clue. It's on the feet, on the balls of your feet. I always felt. you had your weight distributed on your on your arch side of your shoe. So when you stride it as an anchor, and in the back leg was anchored in. But that is bizarre.
Pigeon-toed. Too high, ball 4, and the Rockies have the first 2 men on in the 7th. So a bunt single, a pass ball, and a walk. Let's go back to March 10th. Talked about Asdrubal Cabrera hurting his knee back in spring training. This was the play. He went in standing at second and pulled in with a little pain in his left knee. Unlike today, he was able to walk off the field under his own power. He missed 2.5 weeks in that circumstance.
So it
remains to be seen what the result today will be. Now Charlie Blackmon, 1 for 3, doubled and scored the tying run in the 5th. And he bluffs a bunt. Wouldn't be figuring Blackmon to bunt.
Well, left-hand hitter, leadoff hitter. You got 2 left-handed bats in the 3 and 4 hole. LeMahieu would be up next.
Well, Blackmon faced a left-hander in the 2nd game of the series against Steven Matz. Had 3 hits against him.
I would bunt here, absolutely, with your leadoff hitter. Left-hand hitter, you got a left-handed specialist out there. Absolutely get the runners over.
And he bunts a foul 1-1. I don't know the way Blackmon's swinging the bat right now.
Yeah, but to me, it's a lefty-lefty, and you've got a left-hander out there that's made his whole career giving left-hand hitters trouble. And Blackmon, in 101 at bats, hitting .297 against them with 3 home runs. I'd still bunt.
Flores giving signals to the infield about how they're going to play in a bunting situation. Loney coming a little closer at first this time. And he squares. Rivera was thinking of throwing behind the runner at second as Flores had gone to the bag, but mishandled the ball.
What's going on here? Are they having a communication breakdown? A little Led Zeppelin?
It's always the same. Also, Robles staying busy in the Mets bullpen. I like how he maneuvers that bottle of water with his glove. It's very adept. Walters at second, Rayburn at first, and nobody out. 2-1 to Blackmon. And he lays the bunt down. A nice looking bunt. Rivera's playing at first just in time to get Blackmon. So the sacrifice successful. 2-4, moving the runners to second and third.
Well, the teams that are hot, and this is certainly what the Rockies are red hot right now. You do the little things. Now Terry's got a decision to make as he sends Dan Warthen out. You got the right hand hitting LeMahieu. Behind him are 2 tough left hand hitters. You got to leave Blevins in, and I don't want to walk the bases loaded with those 2 hitters coming up behind him.
No, you wouldn't want LeMahieu to get to Gonzalez.
Absolutely not.
So Blackmon, despite having 7 hits in this series, including 5 doubles, asked to bunt and does it beautifully. And now the Rockies are a fly ball away from taking the lead for the first time in this game. LeMahieu 0 for 2 in his career against Blevins, 0 for 3 in the game today. How are the Mets going to play the infield now?
Halfway.
Walters at third, Rayburn at second. And it looks like the Mets are going to intentionally walk him.
Okay.
And pitch to Carlos Gonzalez with the bases loaded. So it's strictly a lefty-righty move, but you bring up Gonzalez, one of the top 10 hitters in the league, with the bases full.
It's pick your poison here. You got LeMahieu, who is in the top 10 in hitting 320, Gare, and hitting 323 against left-handers. Gonzalez hitting .281 with 8 home runs and 114 at bats.
Well, what might be influencing Terry is that Gonzalez is 0 for 4 in his career against Jerry Blevins, so perhaps he's counting on that string of success to continue for Jerry, who struck out Gonzalez in the opening game of this series on Thursday, the only man he faced in that game. And so Terry's probably hoping he can do that again.
So the game is on right now. They're going to play middle infielders back for 2, and I do believe they'll play the corner infielders kind of halfway. And if you got a slow roller in the corner infield positions, you'll be able to get the force at home.
Walters, who runs pretty well, is at third. Rayburn not so fast at second, and LeMahieu, who's got pretty good quickness at first. And Carlos Gonzalez's numbers against lefties and righties, 0 for 4 against Blevins. So here we go, bases loaded, 1 out, and the curveball in the air to center field. That will get a run in as De Aza lines it up. Walters tags to third. He'll come in with the go-ahead run. The throw goes to second, and the Rockies go in front for the first time today on the sacrifice fly by Gonzalez. It's 4-3 Colorado.
Not wasting any time, getting the curveball. Didn't get it away enough. Nice hitting by Gonzalez.
That puts Chad Bettis in front. Bettis was able to settle in and retired 10 in a row, left for a pinch hitter, and now stands to be a winning pitcher. Rayburn advanced to third on the play, so runners at the corners with 2 out for David Dahl, who's 2 for 3 today. Rayburn at third and LeMahieu at first. Mets led 1-0 and 3-1, but the Rockies, with a run in the 4th, a run in the 5th, and now a run in the 7th, have gone in front, looking to sweep a 4-game series. First pitch curveball misses to Dahl. So Blevins, who had not allowed a run in the month of July, now has. Last run he allowed was June 30th. It was the bunt single by Walters that got the whole thing started. Then the pass ball mishandled by Rivera on an apparent cross-up. Breaking ball fouled off, and it's 1-1 to Dahl. A walk to Rayburn, a perfect sacrifice bunt by Blackman, the intentional walk to LeMahieu, and then Gonzalez first pitch sacrifice fly. Just terrific execution up and down the line by the Rockies in this inning. They're trying to win for the 6th straight time and the 10th in their last 11, trying to go above 500 for the first time in ages. There goes LeMahieu. It's slash foul.
Boy, he tied him up inside there. Something I've seen Blevins do more this year, and we didn't play much last year. He used to love to throw that curve to left-handers. He's throwing more fastballs in to keep them honest, and I'm telling you, he does that. It makes his breaking ball so much more effective.
Rivera flashing signs to the infield about what to do if LeMahieu takes off again. '22-year-old David Dahl in his first week in the big leagues has had himself quite a time. First round draft pick in 2012. And he takes the curveball in the dirt as Rivera smothers that. 2-2. In the shadows, Boone Logan. It's a great shot.
I feel like I'm in a Hitchcock film. Rear Window. Raymond Burr.
See, I just figured that when you mentioned Rear Window, the first person you'd mention would be Grace Kelly.
Oh, Jimmy Stewart with the cast on his leg, snooping around, got himself in trouble.
In there, call strike 3. Side retired. Dahl is caught looking. But the Rockies grab the lead. 7th inning stretch, 4-3 Colorado. Up on Mets Insider, you know all about his memorable moments on the field, but who is Yoenis Cespedes? Get an inside look at his childhood, his family, and his journey to the majors on Mets Insider, presented by W.B. Mason today after the postgame show, only on SNY. And for a preview, let's take a look at a clip from the show.
I think there's a lot more to Yoenis Cespedes right now that we don't know, and that we still don't know, and that we might never know. He's an interesting, complicated guy.
Desde que ella estaba embarazada, se mantuvo jugando softball y en cuanto nací, prácticamente crecí.
There's no running water, no electricity.
It is truly a life and death proposition sometimes to try and get out of Cuba, and there's a lot of shady characters.
There's definitely an air of mystery about Cespedes, and maybe that adds to his attraction. Well, that'll be fun to watch this afternoon on Mets Insider after the postgame show. Meanwhile, here, the Mets trying to avoid getting swept in a 4-game series. They now trail for the first time today. Nolan Arenado comes in for defense. He'll play third base. And the veteran left-hander Boone Logan will pitch for the second straight day.
Well, there are Logan's numbers here. It's 45th game. Fish in last night's game had a clean inning. That would have been the 7th inning that he pitched in last night. He's pitching in the 7th tonight, this afternoon.
Justin Ruggiano will come up to pinch hit for New York. Ruggiano made his Mets debut yesterday. It was a painful one. He dove on the warning track for a ball off the bat of Carlos Gonzalez to the face plant. Also got thrown out trying to steal third base. So it was a complicated day for Ruggiano, who just flew in from Texas after agreeing to a deal with the Mets after being released by the Rangers. And now day 2 for Ruggiano in a Mets uniform. 34-year-old former Miami Marlin, now with his 7th major league team. And he hits Logan's first pitch down to third. Arenado just into the game, makes the running throw on target. 1 pitch and 1 out for Logan in the 7th. Chad Bettis could not have finished better. He gave up a run in each of the first 3 innings. As you look at that play by Arenado.
He took those little extra steps there, Gary, because he knew he had a little more. He had time to get himself composed and make a good throw.
He does that all the time.
He knows what he's doing.
So Bettis retired his last 10 batters. The last time the Mets had a base runner was Brandon Nimmo's RBI single in the third that put the Mets ahead 3-1. But Bettis settled in from there, matched his career high with 8 strikeouts, and now in line for his 4th straight win. Here's De Aza, who's 2 for 3, and takes the breaking ball inside. Well, the Mets are trying to avoid getting swept here going into their series with the Yankees. The Yankees just got swept in their series in Tampa Bay. They lost today 5-3, despite Carlos Beltran's 22nd home run. So the Yankees back down to 500 with their 4th straight loss. So 2 stumbling New York teams are going to be going head to head here at Citi Field tomorrow night.
The Mets are trying to avoid what the Cubs did to them last season in the regular season, swept in both series.
Well, the Pirates did that to the Mets too.
That's
last
right.
year.
I forgot that one.
And the Mets did it to the Rockies. They swept the season series from Colorado, and now the Rockies trying to return the favor. Fastball misses to De Aza, 2-2. Kelly Johnson waits on deck. The Tigers won their 6th in a row today. Mike Pelfrey, 5 scoreless innings. Miguel Cabrera, 2 home runs. They shut out Houston 11-0. The Tigers keep putting pressure on the Indians in that AL Central. Mets will be in Detroit next weekend. That was boxed around by Walters. 3-2 to De Aza. 3-2 coming, and De Aza takes it outside, ball 4, and he's on base for the 3rd time today. Well, he just looks like a different guy right now. Yep. So confident at the plate. Can't hit without confidence. Our Verizon trivia question. We asked who are the only 2 players with 30 or more home runs as a Met and a Rocky. Jay Payton, Jeremy Burnett.
Okay.
I would not have guessed either one. Kelly Johnson takes ball 1. I would have guessed Howard Johnson, but Hojo, I guess, didn't spend long enough as a Rocky.
Time goes by, you kind of forget.
I don't even remember Jay Payton as a Rocky. Kelly Johnson's 0 for 2, struck out and grounded out. De Aza at first with a tying run. And Logan continues to miss away. 2-0 to Johnson. Kelly faced Logan in last night's game and grounded out to first base. Madison Reed. If the Mets can at least get tied. Hansel Robles if they don't. Checking on De Aza, who has 3 steals this year in 5 tries. Boone Logan, well-traveled left-handed specialist, former Yankee. And Johnson takes a strike. James Loney, another left-hand hitter waiting on deck. Kelly Johnson didn't start this game, came in when Asdrubal Cabrera got hurt in the 1st inning. It goes after the breaking ball, 2-2.
Those are the ones that you kick yourself for chasing a bad pitch, because, you know, instead of 2-2, it should have been 3-1, and it's just a whole different ball of wax count wise.
Two coming, and Kelly rolls one slowly. LeMahieu goes for the lead man and gets De Aza for the 2nd out. 4-6 on the fielder's choice. Johnson reaches 2 out. So it's left to James Loney, who's 0 for 3 today. Flied out, struck out, grounded out. Loney's done well against Boone Logan in the past. 3 hits and 8 career at bats. And they stack the right side against James. I mean, you wouldn't think that for a guy like Loney who hits to all fields.
He can hit down the left field line. We've seen him do it, but they have the left fielder hug the line, so it's not doesn't become a double.
Arenado alone on the left side of the infield. He can cover more of that than most third basemen. Hasn't been a great defensive week for Nolan Arenado. Not a very good offensive week either. And that's why he got the day off today. But he is state of the art. 3 seasons in the big leagues, 3 Gold Gloves. He's the second player in Major League history to do that his first 3 years. Up and in. 2-1. The only other one was Ichiro Suzuki, and you know he comes with an asterisk, having already played a full career in Japan before he got to the big leagues. But Arenado is a raw rookie, impressed everybody with his fielding prowess, and he's got that Gold Glove probably as long as he plays. In at the knees for a strike to Loney, and Logan gets even 2-2. Neil Walker would be next. Loney wastes away the fastball. That's looking for a big late inning hit. They had one of them on this homestand in that 3rd game against the Cardinals when Yoenis Cespedes hit one off Adam Wainwright to give the Mets a late lead. But that was the day Familia's save streak came to an end, and the Mets haven't won since. Full count now to Loney.
Boy, Boone Logan, he's just like, middle name is 3-2.
That'll be one way to speed up the game. Start every at bat 3-2. Play an hour and 10 minutes. 3-2 coming, and Loney fouls it off. Do you see Steve Phillips' proposal, by the way? He wants to make it 3 balls for a walk and 2 strikes for an out. Just basically start every at bat with a 1-1 count.
No,
speed up the game.
Can't do that to a hitter.
Save the pitchers. Come throw fewer pitches that way. So you're not on board?
Not on board.
Okay. 8th pitch of the at bat to Loney, and he strokes another one foul. It's an interesting concept, though.
It's an interesting idea, but yet.
I mean, it would be radical.
It sure would.
Long turn at bat for Loney.
And he drives one deep toward the right field corner. And that's a foul ball.
Oh. Just went foul. Loney came that close to an extra base hit that could have tied the game. In a mass of offensive disappointments, James Loney has been a bright spot for the Mets. Picked him up off the scrap heap, and he has done everything the Mets could have hoped. Now in a raging battle with Boone Logan. He takes it low, ball 4.
Knew that.
And that'll move the tying run to second base. So 2 walks in the inning for Logan, and now Walt Weiss has to decide, does he want Logan to stay in to face Walker, turn Walker around and bring in the right-hander.
The pitching coach coming out, and that means he's going to stay with them.
Steve Foster on his way to the mound. Just composing his thoughts for
one
pitcher Logan.
Double down the right field line, hit hard. I knew it was going to be ball 4 the next pitch.
Adam Ottavino up in the bullpen for the Rockies. So now Neil Walker right now is the hottest hitter in the Mets lineup. 2 for 3 today, an RBI triple in the first, single to center in the third. He'll bat right-handed for the first time in this game. 11 hits in his last 18 at bats, and the only time he was retired today, he lined out to first base. Johnson at second, carrying the tying run. Loney at first. Mets have been held to 5 hits this afternoon. Walker has 2 of the 5. And he fouls off the first pitch fastball. This is Walker's first ever plate appearance against Boone Logan.
And Walker smacks one deep left center field. Dahl going back deep in the gap near the wall. It's out of here. Neil Walker with a 3-run homer to put the Mets in front. The suddenly raging hot Neil Walker turns the game around, and it's 6-4 New York. Number 17 for Walker, 1 more than he hit all of last season.
Another 3-hit day, his 3rd since breaking out of this slump.
Wow. Talk about a turnaround. Turning his season back around and turning this game around.
Fastball right down the pipe. Goodbye.
There is the hit the Mets have been striving for.
All their runs driven in today. There it is right there. All the runs the Mets have driven in, hitters have driven in, have been with 2 outs.
Well, Logan walked a pair, and Walker made him pay. Now Conforto rolls one to the right side. LeMahieu makes the play to win the inning, but Neil Walker's 3-run homer puts the Mets back in front. Number 17 for Walker. A huge one for a languishing Mets team, and they're up 6-4 going to the 8th. Team Jonathan Lucroy still plays for. Well, there's Neil Walker, who all of a sudden has caught fire, and he's gotten the Mets the lead, 6-4.
Well, it was a very long slump, and I think it's safe to say he's out of it, and he's fired up.
12 hits in his last 19 at bats, and none bigger than that one. It's the first time in the last 19 games that the Mets have scored more than 5 runs in a game. And it's Walker's home run that got them to 6. Now Addison Reed, who has been perfect in the month of July, will try and keep the lead in the 8th.
As I said earlier, all the Met runs driven in with 2 outs.
Mark Reynolds is 0 for 3 today, struck out twice against Noah Syndergaard, who's now off the hook. There's a call strike, and it's 0-2. That Mets home run means $2,000 for No Kid Hungry, enough to provide 20,000 healthy meals courtesy of Citi. Nolan Arenado is on deck, and then Christian Adames in the 8th. And the fastball from Reed sails outside, 1-2. Jerry Blevins gave up the go-ahead run in the 7th, so he was on the hook. And now he's off.
Yes, he is.
And he has a chance to be a winning pitcher. The last time the Mets scored more than 5 runs was July the 7th, when they scored 9 against the Nationals. It had been a long, dry few weeks. On the outside corner, and Reed gets Reynolds looking to start the 8th. Addison Reed painting the corners. Stop by your local Sherwin-Williams store for all your painting needs. Now Arenado batting for the first time in the game. Was getting the day off today until he came in for defense. 1 for 13 in this series, which is one of the reasons Walt Weiss gave him the day off. Sitting right around 220 in July, so it's not been his best month. But having himself a big year. 26 home runs, second to his teammate Trevor Story in the National League. And Reed quickly ahead of him 0-2. Arenado down swinging. Back-to-back strikeouts for Reed. 2 men down.
Reed has just been absolutely spectacular.
So 2 up and 2 set aside. Now Christian Adames 0 for 3 today. Now 0 for his last 21. Filling in for the injured Trevor Story, who hurt his thumb last night. And Reed throwing nothing but strikes.
Well, Jeff Kellogg has been a pitcher's umpire, which is fine. He's been consistent.
Adames hits one toward the middle. That's a base hit. So he snaps his 0 for 21 streak with a 2-out single.
Kind of let go with one hand, just kind of punched it up the middle.
Eighth hit of the game for the Rockies, and now Tony Walters, who's been on base 3 times in a row. 2 intentional walks and then a drag bunt single came around to score what at the time was the go-ahead run in the top of this top of the 7th. And he takes high from Reed, ball 1. Nick Hundley has come out on deck to pinch hit if Walters can keep the inning going. If Story is not available, then Hundley, who is normally the #1 catcher, is the last man available on Walt Weiss's bench. A good slider by Reed. They only have a 4-man bench, and Story is out with the thumb injury. They've already used Rayburn and Arenado, and that leaves just Hundley. Another good slider by Reed, and he's ahead on Walters, 1-2. One-two coming. And another slider. This one Walters lays off. 2-2. Two and two to Tony Walters. And he fouls it off. Noah Syndergaard went 6, allowed 3 runs, 2 earned on 6 hits. No decision for him. Jerry Blevins gave him a run in his inning. And now Addison Reed trying to take care of the 8th. Two. Time call. So 2-2 to Walters. Last time Addison Reed allowed a run was June 25th. He's now gone 16 consecutive innings without allowing a run. Longest streak of his career. He has been borderline spectacular. 7th pitch of the at bat coming to Walters.
Struck him. Got him with a slider. Rivera chases him and tags him out, and the inning's over. 3 strikeouts in the 8th inning. Another lockdown 8th for Addison Reed.
What a money pitcher he's been. 6-4 Mets in the 8th. Presented by Chevy. Derek Dietrich tripled in the winning run in the bottom of the 9th. Miami moves a game up on the Cardinals for the 2nd wild card. Carlos Beltran homered, but the Yankees get swept at Tampa Bay, so they've lost 4 straight coming into Citi Field tomorrow night. And Jeff Francoeur's 2-run homer puts the Braves in front 2-1 as they go to the 9th. Addison Reed with 3 strikeouts in that top of the 8th.
Little down slider.
Wilmer Flores leads off the bottom of the 8th. It's getting a little darker here at Citi Field.
But we're
Lights
good.
are not on. Scott Oberg comes in for his 3rd appearance in the series. First 2 times he's been in this series, Oberg has been spectacular. Came in with the bases loaded and nobody out on Thursday and was able to get through the inning. Then on Friday came in with 1st and 2nd and nobody out and got 3 outs on 3 pitches. So he's been as good as the Rockies could have asked for in this series. Flores pops one up and LeMahieu waits for it. 1 out. So Wilmer 0 for 3 on the day. Now Brandon Nimmo. Nimmo's been on base twice, walked and scored in the 2nd, singled home a run in the 3rd. Making his first start since his return from AAA. Jeurys Familia getting ready in the Mets bullpen. Looking to get a new save streak started today after blowing his last 2 chances.
He's looking to break that streak of 2 blown saves.
Nimmo. In the 9th, Familia will be facing the pitcher spot. Then Blackman and LeMahieu, and if anybody gets on, Carlos Gonzalez. So stay tuned. Nimmo lays off the slider, 2-1. Scott Oberg out of the University of Connecticut. Spent some time in the minor leagues, and he has been great since the Rockies brought him back up. And again, their whole pitching staff has been. It's one of the reasons they've won 9 of their last 10. But one big swing by Neil Walker turning this game around when it looked like the Rockies might be on the verge of a 4-game sweep. Now Oberg behind on Nimmo, 3-1. And there's a strike. Rene Rivera waits on deck. Three-two.
Yep.
Strike 3 called. Nimmo called out on strikes for the 2nd straight at bat.
Well, low ball umpire all day long, Jeff Kellogg. And the borderline knees is going to go to the pitcher, and he has been consistent, and it's close enough. He has called a good game behind the plate. He's just a pitcher's umpire. As a hitter, you got to swing the bat.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now Rene Rivera. Rivera's 0 for 2 and a walk today. Curtis Granderson's out on deck. He'll pinch hit if Rivera keeps the inning going. Goes after the slider, 0-1. The Orioles just scored 4 runs in the top of the 12th in Toronto. As you look at Familia in the bullpen. Orioles have lost 5 straight, fell out of first place with their loss to Toronto yesterday. And looking to get back into first place today. They're up 6-2 in the 12th. Adam Jones, a 3-run homer. Bounce foul. 0-2 to Rivera. The Indians won their game. They shut out Oakland 8-0. Corey Kluber got his 10th win. So they stay 4.5 up on the Tigers, who won their 6th straight. It's a final in Atlanta. The Braves beat the Phillies 2-1. And Rivera holds the swing. Did he go? He did. Strike 3. Inning over. 1-2-3 inning for Scott Oberg with a couple of strikeouts. Now Jeurys Familia tries to get a new save streak going. 6-4 Mets going to the 9th. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Citi. Learn about Citi perks at Mets.com/Citi. By Bob's Discount Furniture. Shop in store or online at mybobs.com. By Tito's Handmade Vodka, America's original craft vodka. Visit us at titosvodka.com. While the Lexus NX Turbo and Hybrid go beyond utility. And by Geico, the #1 insurer in the New York market. Well, Jerry's Familia's had a couple of days off since his back-to-back blown saves Wednesday and Thursday. He'll come in with a 2-run lead in the 9th inning, going for his 37th save of the year. Nick Hundley will be the pinch hitter. Hundley 2 for 8 in the series, and he takes up and away for ball 1. Hundley, the last available player on Walt Weiss's bench. Trevor Story with a jammed thumb, supposedly unavailable today. Charlie Blackmon on deck, then DJ LeMahieu against Familia. A ball and a strike to Hundley.
Well, protecting a 2-run lead, it's a little bit easier than a 1-run lead, obviously. But it's an important one for Familia to stop the bleeding here. His bleeding and his team's bleeding. Get this W under their belt, break this 4-game losing streak.
He converted 52 regular season saves in a row till Wednesday night when the Cardinals got him and the Rockies nicked him again Thursday afternoon. Hit down the right field side foul, and it's 1-2 to Hundley. Addison Reed had his usual spectacular performance, struck out 3 in the 8th to set it up for Familia. Jay Reese, despite the recent bobble, still leads the National League in saves. 5 more than anybody else. 1-2 coming.
Struck him out. Nasty slider to get Hundley. 1 man down.
Understatement, Gary. My goodness. This is as good as it gets.
So 1 out and nobody on. Now Charlie Blackmon. Blackmon doubled and scored in the 5th inning, and then in the 7th, with the game tied, laid down a perfect sacrifice bunt to set up what at the time was the go-ahead run. But Neil Walker's 3-run homer in the bottom of the 7th put the Mets in front, and Familia has 2 more outs to get to protect that. And Blackmon takes a fastball strike. Blackman's had a terrific series, 7 for 16 with 5 doubles. And he drills that one down the line. Foul. Got ahead of that slider. And now Familia up in the count 0-2. Coming up on Geico Sports Night tonight at 10:30. We'll have all the baseball news, including the trade deadline. News out of Giants camp as well. Coming up, Geico Sports Night 10:30 tonight on SNY. He was hard worked earlier this week. Worked 3 straight days, the last 2 resulting in the blown save, but he had last night and the night before off.
Struck him out. Threw the fastball by Blackmon. 2 men down.
I'll say he did. I think someone's mad out there. Look at this. Yeah, he threw the dog out of that one.
So back-to-back strikeouts for Familia. And the Rockies are down to their final out with DJ LeMahieu up. LeMahieu 0 for 3 and an intentional walk. Huge at bat here because you've got Carlos Gonzalez standing on deck.
Correct.
Quick pitch. Chopper. Familia's got it. And the ball game is over. Jerry's Familia with a dominant 9th inning to close it out after Neil Walker's 3-run homer in the 7th put the Mets in front. And the Mets snap a 4-game losing streak as they salvage the finale from the Rockies 6-4.
Well, a lot of good things happened today. 2-out RBIs by the Mets. All 6 of their runs driven in with 2 outs. Of course, the big blow was Neil Walker, who continues his 3rd 3-hit game since breaking out of his slump, his 17th home run. The game breaker got the Mets from behind, took the lead in the 7th, a 3-run shot.
Game summary presented by Tito's Handmade Vodka. Walker now 12 for 19 during a 5-game hitting streak. He has just busted out big time, and the Mets needed every bit of it today as the Rockies came from behind twice to tie before Walker's put the Mets in front to stay. For every Mets win, the Mets organization is proud to contribute $2,500 to Northwell Health and the Cass Institute for Women's Health. For more information, visit northwellhealth.com/KIWH. The win brings the total contribution so far this season to $135,000. Mets snap their 4-game losing streak. Familia snaps his blown save streak. Walker hits a big home run. Mets win 6-4. We'll be right back to Citi Field.